When it comes to effective communication and user delight in UX design, a lot can be achieved through UI animation, micro animation, or motion designs like these. And by the end of this video, you will learn how to create animations like this using a free tool called Phase, which is actually as simple as Figma. But you need to stay tuned till the end because I'll be sharing the working tutorial files with you so that you can also play around and learn much faster. You see, in 2025, everybody's first UI UX tool is Figma. It's free, it's simple, and it's a UI design tool that can handle animations as well, which is why it can only do basic motion design with their smart animate feature. But when we need advanced control, we go for Adobe After Effects, which is super powerful with its timeline based editor, but at the same time the problem is it's very complex and it's very expensive. And this is why I see only 0.1% designer graduate from Figma Smart Animate to After Effects timeline based editor. But now I have found a tool which is completely free, which is as simple as Figma, but a little more powerful with its timeline based editor. The interesting fact is not a lot of people in India know about this tool, but it's actually quite popular in Korea. They are the sponsors of this video and the app name is Phase. I'll share the link in the description for you to check out, but first let's break down two things. First one is why is it simple and how familiar is it with Figma, and then the second one is what makes it more powerful animator than Figma's Smart Animate. So without wasting any time, let's deep dive. This is how the dashboard is going to look like. These are some of the drafts that I have created while I was testing this tool. But if you want to basically create, you can start from a template or you can actually start from new. So I'll start from new and we'll now discuss how is it very similar to Figma. First of all, the layout is very similar to Figma. For example, if I want to create a rectangle, I'll draw a rectangle like this, exactly how we do it in Figma. Here the layers are here, and then if I want to manipulate this rectangle, like move it around, give it a rounded corner and things like that, then I can do it from this menu. And like how in Figma you have design mode and prototype mode, here right now in Phase we are in the design mode. Right? So we are creating rectangles. You can use the same shortcut R for creating rectangles like you do it in Figma. So this is your design mode and this is pretty much your canvas. These are your shapes, right? Very much like Figma. In fact, you also have the concept of containers which behave like frames of Figma, right? So again, anybody who is coming from Figma to Phase to animate, they're going to find it extremely familiar and easy to start with. So we talked about the design mode. The next mode is animate mode. See here, whatever you have created, you can animate, right? We'll talk about it in a bit, but first let me talk about the third thing other than layout and shortcuts and similar tools. The third thing that makes it very similar to Figma is the share button. Right? If you look at share, this actually allows you to share it with your co-designers or your PMs or your developers who can actually come and edit your raw files, or you can view your raw files, right? Even for tutorials, this is going to be very easy. I'll be sharing the files that I had showed in the beginning of the video with you so that you can also view them, or if you want, you can download them, whatever. Let me know in the comments if you want to download them, but I'll give you a view access of the file and you can pretty much learn from how those files were also created. Now, what makes it better than Figma? Let's talk about that. So the first one is this edit origin thing, right? So if I actually rotate this, okay, if I actually give a rotation, you see from where it is rotating, the point of rotation is actually this, right? This is where this thing is rotating, okay? But what I can do with edit origin is basically I can change the origin to this, right? Like I can move it around and I can place the origin wherever I want. Alright, once this origin mode is exited, now if I rotate, look from where it is rotating, right? So this is the first thing that makes it better than Figma. Alright, let me remove that. Next thing is animation. Okay, in animation mode, this is a timeline. Okay, let me actually create a circle, right? So we have gone back to design mode and this is circle, and at t is equals to 0, I'll say that this is the location, where I want it to be, and at t is equals to 1, this is the location where I want the circle to be, right? And if I come here and I press this play button, this is how it works, right? So what we are doing is we are giving keyframes. These are called keyframes. If you have used Premiere Pro or Adobe After Effects or any such animation or video editing tool, then you would know that this thing exists, right? Here I can use even presets like ease in and things like that. So this is also something that I can do. If I want to make it faster and shorter, then this can also work, right? I think this is ease in, but then this is not ease in, so we'll make it ease in, right? So that's how you basically animate, right? So you have a timeline that makes it better than Figma. Similarly, I can draw another shape, right? Let's change the color as well. Let's make it green maybe, right? So let's go ahead and animate this guy. What we'll do with this is we'll make it rotate, right? So we'll add a keyframe here, and then at 1 second we'll make it, you see this is different from Figma because Figma stops at 360. You can make it as much as you want, right? I don't know how many times I rotated, but we'll see, right? So this is something that you can also do, right? And I can use ease in, right? So this is how we can animate using timelines, right? This is something that Pro tools basically allow us to do. Figma doesn't allow us to do this. Figma, you can do frame by frame smart animate, but this is something that is much more powerful and gives you much more control over your animation. Now the third thing that makes it even better than Figma is this ability to change the path, right? Not exactly change the path, but basically manipulate the path. So for example, I can pretty much make the path however I want, right? So if I now come here, see, looks interesting, right? And you can basically manipulate this particular path and trace it however you want, right? On whatever line you want or whatever object you want and things like that. So the ability to do this is going to give you a lot of creative freedom in order to, think about how to basically move items here and there, right? I actually will go back, undo, and I wanted to show something else as well, which is, you see there are two animations that are running parallel, right? What I'll do is I'll actually select both of them, Control G to group them, right? And I'll actually animate the group itself now. So this is the starting keyframe for the group, you can see here, and at somewhere, say at 1 second, I want this group to basically move here. I'm just doing random shit, but you'll get the idea, right? So what is happening? The circle is following its own path and the group is following this path, right? If I want, I can even manipulate this as well, right? So the group is following its own path, individual items are following their own path. Interesting, right? So I'm just talking, I know this does not make any sense, this is very abstract and shit, but you get the complete idea of what you can do here, right? Actually, let me create a shape and give you another feature that makes it, even more powerful and something that you will probably use, right? So let's say I have this triangle, and what I'll do is I'll basically animate it. So at whatever the timeline is, I want it to go here, right? Now this is straightforward, but what happens if I, make the path a little more complex, right? How does that work? So it goes in a weird way. What I want is, I want it to auto orient to this line, right? I want the orientation of this to basically change at this point, and this should move like this. So for that, basically select this triangle, go here and click here auto orient, right? Now see how that works. Let me manipulate this a bit so that it looks, so that you see what is going on, right? So that's it, right? This is exactly how we want it. Now I can go here, change it to whatever I want. I don't know what step does, but let's see how that works. Okay, step basically means this is frame 1 and this is frame 2. Okay, I didn't know that, I just learned. So you should also just walk around, because this is a new tool and every few days, few weeks, they are releasing something new, they are updating something new. So please go ahead and track that, keep playing with it. And see, I can also manipulate it manually. This ease curve, they should go back a bit and then come, right? Interesting, right? So these are all the superpowers that you can use, and I would sincerely hope you to actually graduate from Figma. And if you're afraid of using After Effects, please don't use After Effects. Don't pay for that amount, because Phase is completely free. You should totally try it out. And one final thing for everybody who is new, if you know what is Lotty, Lotty is this tool by apparently Airbnb, where you get all these different animations, right? What you can do with Phase, come here and import one of the JSON files or Lotty files. And if you don't know what is Lotty, Lotty is basically a repository of animations. Some are free, some are paid. What we can do is, let's say I want to download this, I'll go click on download, right? A page comes up. My internet is a bit slow, so it's taking time, but yeah, this thing comes up, and here you can see .lotty or .json, whatever you want, you can basically download, and then go to import, and then basically select one of them, right? And this is it. Once you basically import, this is going to look like this in the design. But if you click on animate and if you click on play, right, this thing is animating, right? What this allows you to do is basically you can take any animation from Lotty and see how that is built, right? It is a great way to learn how to animate by looking at others' source file, and you can also manipulate it. For example, let's say I don't want this green color, right? I can pretty much change it to something else, right? So again, this part also needs to be worked on, but you get the idea, right? You can basically manipulate all of these vectors. We can reanimate some part of it if you want. For example, if you want this to basically move straight, you can do that. And then yeah, I mean, there is no limit to what you can do with this. So what blows my mind is this is completely free and not a lot of people know about it. So if you are using Figma to animate, please go ahead and graduate from it. Please start using Phase. And that's it for this video. If you haven't, then please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.